Hello everybody and welcome to Tasso Show, and today we're going to play not the Great Ace Attorney Adventures because I just finished it not that long ago, but the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. Alright, we're gonna start that second episode of the franchise, the Great Ace Attorney. I finished the Great Ace Attorney Adventures not that long ago, before the end of 2021, and now in 2022 we're gonna start with the Great Ace Attorney 2. I don't know what to expect really of this game, but obviously the end of the previous game kind of have a cliffhanger into it, which I assume we're gonna talk about, so everybody be warned that there will probably be spoilers into this second episode if you didn't finish the first one. So let's get started. Alright, you may have seen that I have an achievement that was unlocked about the tailor, because I actually allowed to have like the new costumes, which I'm probably gonna remove eventually because, yeah, as you can see here,
standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean,
Susato has a different design.
Seem like a dream, but I do miss my time in England's vast capital.
It starts with Susato, okay. She went back to Japan.
You know,
obviously she's gonna explain all of this.
A truly wonderful lawyer.
Yes.
I've no doubt that at this very moment he's fighting some noble cause in court.
He does. Probably. Ah, Susato.
For taking so long to come to visit you. My life
that must be the father.
Since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened.
What does that mean?
After arriving home.
Oh no, she found herself with another crime. What happened? Jezebel is back?
So I came here today to ask something of you. Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life. As a lawyer.
She will be a lawyer, yes! I love that. I love when we do that in So we do that pretty often actually in... Jezebel is the one that got killed.
I ask for your guidance.
Interesting. But it's funny because Susato... Kazuma Asogi, okay. Well, it makes more sense that Kazuma is the one that she's talking to, because as you may know if you finish the first game, it looks beautiful. I love that! Susato is a lawyer on this one. We generally do that in every single Ace Attorney after the first one, where you play with another characters than the Ace Attorney. So for example, Phoenix Wright, you don't play with him as in Ace Attorney, well, it's in Trials and Tribulation, you don't play with him at the beginning of the game, and that's the first time that we did that, and then we keep doing that in every single games afterwards, which is pretty cool. So I'm very excited to see like playing with Susato-san. But before we do anything with this, I'm going to do something quickly. Okay, it doesn't seem that unfortunately I can change the change of clothes that I did. So what I'm gonna do is that with this version with a commentary, I will have this first version with the clothes, with the specific clothes from Iris. But I will do probably another video, no commentary, only with the original clothes that Susato is supposed to wear. So let's get started, let's see what's going on here. Susato. Here I am again after 9 months, the Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. I feel so nervous, but I must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself. Ah, that's the father, Mikotoba. Ah, good you're here. It doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Oh, yes, good morning, sir. I hardly recognize you. You get a fine figure, Consul. It's interesting, so the father must feel better because Susato had to leave England, London, to actually come back to Japan because the father was sick and could have died, but apparently he seems in full health here. Alright, let's continue. But you look as white as a sheet, and those wide eyes aren't doing you any favor either. Oh dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous, I feel utterly nauseated. I almost wish that I'd never been born. Jeez. What a strong word. Goodness, not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. I do agree with that. Eugene Mikotoba, Professor of Medicine at the Imperial Yume University. A man who, earlier in his life, traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances in forensic medical science. And, of course, my brilliant father. Excuse me. Ah, that's a woman, okay. Would I be correct in thinking that you're to be my lawyer in court today? Yes, that's right, miss. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication. This whole thing. She has the same, movement than Susato, kind of. Rei Membami. Born the same year as I, and my greatest friend. Of course. They love to have friends that are getting potentially in court. Obviously, on the first episode, when you saw my previous episode, it was our main character being considered kind of like the culprit, and then Kazuma Asogi was trying to represent him, but then in the end he represents himself instead. Ryonosuke Naruhodo. Oh well. Anyway, let's continue. Unusual for a woman in her time, she works at the University Research Laboratory, helping my father. And sadly, she is the defendant in today's trial. Accused of committing a truly awful murder. Are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem, well, to have become a little flushed. Oh my, it's just that. You look so gallant and dashing. Sorry? And when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. Goodness, I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am. It would seem our little plan for this trial is going to work. Oh! What do you mean, Professor Mikotoba? If even your best friend can see through the disguise, I think we can relax. Disguise? Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. Father! What is that? Is that you, Susato? I'm so sorry I didn't say something sooner, Ray. No! What are you doing? What's going on? What? That's varsity uniforms, that varsity caves, that varsity caves, that varsity badge. Cap. I don't know how to say the difference between that varsity cap, that varsity cape. Is that what it is? Anyway, let's continue. Look at you! You look for all the world just like a student of Imperial Yume University, a male student! I'm so glad you think so. It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. I woke at 4 this morning to make a start. But I don't understand why you dress like that. Well, you see, it was the only way. The only way she would be permitted into the Supreme Court to take on your defense in this trial. My defense? Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated at having been born into this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom. Despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike. But women are forbidden. Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door, so that I can act as your lawyer. Oh, Susato! You'd go to such lengths for me? Of course, you're my greatest friend. I just worried that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve. Oh no, I have complete faith in you. Ray. It's so strange, Far. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already. And yet, just because you're a woman, what a wretched reason! I mean, why you shouldn't be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing. Ray. Please, don't look at me like that, with those flushed cheeks and dawning eyes. Oh, I'm sorry, it's just, you really do look so dashing. Yes, you mentioned that once or twice. You should be pleased. It means you look convincing as a man. I am pleased, I think. It certainly helped to bolster my confidence today. Ray, you're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can see through it. I've noticed how your shoulders are slumped and how you're trembling ever so slightly. Susato, you do believe me, don't you? I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder. Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right? Yes it is. Perfectly clean. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence, which is why I'll stand by you until the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side. Because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer. That means so much to me, Susato. Defendant, counsel. Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. Alright, we're gonna be in the court and we can show how the game is being played. I wanted to make sure that you can see a little bit of the gameplay. Mikotoba, you should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty. Oh! Stand aside! I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast. Well, Susato, you've certainly surprised your father, going to such length to be admitted into the courtroom, and with no prior experience of being a lawyer. Well, I mean, she was with Yonosuke for like 4 cases, so she may know a little bit more than that, but who knows. There was simply no other way. That's all there is to it. But father... Well, actually, it's not 4 cases, it's only 2, really, when you think about it. Anyway. You haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Ray doesn't know how it came to this. Yes, quite right. I've kept that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer could agree to take her case. I didn't want to burden her with that. And it is true. The reason why every other lawyer is refusing to take the case? Obviously, I guess they don't want to take the case because a British citizen was killed. Because of... If you play the previous game, you understand that the two governments really want to have a good connection, and if something bad's happening, obviously it will have an effect into the politics behind the scene. Anywho. Is it really because of who the victim was? We should be making a move now too. As you know, law isn't my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student. Oh, that's cool, he will be the assistant in this case. Thank you, father. I like that. I like the fact that Susato is actually a lawyer in this first case. I'm Susato Mikotoba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain. But 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. How many times have I wished that you were here, I wonder. I love the fact that I have a new costume for Yonosuke as well, but those costumes made by Iris are not that interesting, to be fairly honest with you. I want to go back to the classic stuff. Anyway. Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself from the trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san. Alright, let's see how the court looks like. 13th of August, 9 AM, Supreme Court of Judicature, Courtroom 1. What's that mouthful? Judicature. As you know, I'm not American, I'm not English, so saying some of the stuff sometimes may be pretty hard for me, so I apologize in advance if I say words improperly. This court is now in session to hear the trial of Ray Membami. Oshi. The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency. He grew his hair, unless it's somebody else, but we'll see. Defense Counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency, we are ready. I'm wondering, like, if I remove that special homemade dress, how would she look like? Because I assume that she would have something different than a kimono. Ready! Of course, she acts exactly like Ryonosuke. Ah, yes, Consul. According to your registration detail, your name is, Ryutaro Naruhodo? Is that correct? Ryutaro. Sorry? Oh yes, I had to come up with a suitable male name for you for this little venture. So I'm afraid to say I simply put down the first name that sprang to mind. Well, Consul? Yes, that's right, that's me. Yes, I'm Ryutaro. He who has vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan. It's a bit of exaggerated. Oh. It seems the Ryutaro may need to consider how better to uphold his manly act first and not overdo it. What a jab. And those wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Just relax and listen. Naruhodo? A fresh face in this courtroom, if I'm not mistaken. But the name Naruhodo, would that perchance be... You may be thinking of Ryonosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain as part of a study program. This is, Iskaze! That's right, Ryutaro here has been studying in the provinces but was called to the capital for this trial. I assure you, in matters of law, his knowledge rivals that of any of Tokyo's preeminent lawyers. Any of them! What a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused has had to call in a country boy. How dare you! Susato is every bit as gallant and dashing as any of you Tokyo attorneys. Ah, what a silly thing to say. It's not Susato, it's Ryutaro. I won't have you making fun of her. Oh my god. Her? Oh, please be careful, Ray. What an unrefined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eye very much suggests that he is not. I'm so nervous. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand why Naruhodo-san goes through. What Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, eyes are wont to fleet. Alright, it's been 24 minutes. I'm gonna try to do 6 more minutes and then we can call it a day. Just wanted to share a teensy bit of it. Judge, the case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interests. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may well affect the very future of our empire. just like the trial 9 months ago. And yet, for proceeding of such importance, we have this unknown yokel by the dock? Dear me. Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense. To determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom. 9 months ago, when a certain of the Naruhodo stood where you're standing now, this same judge tested him as well. And even though he was just a student at the time, not even a flaw, he passed this test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be easy. So, counsel, do you consent to answering some simple questions? Alright, it's time to prove myself. The exact same movements for Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency, but please do make them simple. And I'm actually gonna save for 2 reasons. Number 1, because there is actually a trophy or an achievement that you can potentially get from answering wrong. So I want to make sure that I answer all the questions. For those who actually see my playthrough of the first game, because I will have a full playlist of the first game, you will see that most of the time I try to do the wrong answers first and then the good answers. So like that, we can see what different things are happening across. So let's see if I can do that here too. Very well. To start with, you will state the name of the victim. Phew, that is simple. I couldn't forget that if I've tried. What's the matter? Now that I'm staying in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, minds are wont to blank. It's not surprising, really. It's your first time in this position and in that guise. Even a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter a little under the circumstances. Oh dear, this is a dismal failure. Don't fret, you need only use the knowledge you've gained as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem. Of course, the court record. Yes, the answer will be amongst all the key information about the case in the court record. That's right. Just use RB to open the court record. I'm playing on a Xbox 360 controller, so that's why it says RB, which is the top right buttons that you have. Then you need to flip to the people section with RB. So you have to press RB again. And don't take too long over it. His Excellency is watching you closely. Alright. Check the court record with RB. That's where the information I need will be. So you can see I'm changing quickly to my keyboard, but you can do that with the keyboard as well. You can see that E will be the court record here. So if I press E, it's coming here. Apparently there's a post-mortem report that we have right now, and you have 4 people. Oh, it's a Giselle bread. I don't know why I thought it was Jezebel. But it's been a long time I played the first one. Okay, let's go back. Let's go to the post-mortem report. We're gonna examine that. So you have to press A. But quickly, post-mortem report. Time of death just after 2 p.m. Death is believed to be due to trauma to the victim's lung from a knife blade. Only a single wound was identified. So victim, Giselle Brett, female, British. Time of death, 11th of August at around 2 p.m. ascertained by examination and witness statement. And there's a second page, so we're gonna go to the second page by going left or right. Cause of death: single deep stab wound from behind, piercing a lung and resulting in a fatal hemorrhage. Hemorrhage? I don't know how you say that in English. Death would have occurred within minutes. Note: extreme miosis. Pupil constriction was observed in the victim in both eyes. She may have been poisoned, the same way that something happened in the first game. Alright. So we have Eugene Mikotoba, which is the father. Oh, I don't know how to go left and right. Maybe they use the WASD. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. The WASD is basically WASD. That's the way that most games use the keyboard to go left, right, up, and down. Remembami, the best friend, which is the defendant. Giselle Brett, who is the victim and from the British Empire. British exchange student. Yeah, and 9 months ago she was found guilty of the murder of professing visitor Dr. John Wilson. This is the end of the first chapter on the first game. So you can see that with spoilers, obviously. And then Taketsushi Ochi, 52, the lead prosecutor of this case, and not happy about the judiciary system. Alright, we looked at everything, so let's go. We're gonna finish with this. Just answering stuff. Okay? I'm waiting console. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna actually try to fail it. So like that we can come back and see what's happening. What is the name of the victim in this case? Let's just get Tsushiochi, which is the prosecutor in this case. Let's see what he's gonna say. The victim in this case is, yes, Prosecutor Taketsushi Yoshi. What? Why the sudden triumphant cry of yes? Are you threatening to kill me? He seems angry. He seems angry. And you're surprised? Did you consult the court record? You must look through it carefully. Oh, yes, I did, of course. I looked at everyone on file. And I chose the person whose features appeared to be the most deathly. I must say, this most unusual method of yours left me almost speechless. It occurs to me with renewed certainty that reading the information carefully is vitally important. I strongly recommend it. Oh dear, I simply can't ignore the imploring look. That imploring look. Excellency, please allow me to amend my answer. Very well. I will excuse this incorrect response given your wide-eyed state of panic. So here we don't lose actually points, because generally you have a health bar at the top with 5 points, and every time that you do something wrong you get penalized with 1 point removed. Okay, let's do Eugene Mikotoba now. The victim in this case is none other than Professor Eugene Mikotoba. What? Well, to be written off by one's own child. Father, you seem suddenly so much older and rarier than you were mere moments ago. Because of you, clearly. The judge is asking for the victim's name. The person who was killed in this case. Look through the information in the court record again, carefully. Before you kill me, for mercy's sake. Oh dear, I simply can't ignore the disapproving look. And yes, Father Frustrator, I got it. I got the achievement. Excellency, please allow me to amend my answer. So, what we gonna do is that we're actually gonna go back to the title screen. I'm not gonna save. On special content, you will see that there's something named accolades, and that's where you get all your achievements. Which is good that actually they did it this way. I'm just curious to see if they gave me that. Okay, perfect. Father Frustrator for having named Taketsuchi Oji and Eugene Mikotoba as a victim of episode 1. I'm gonna go to Taylor and I'm actually gonna remove a special clothing this time. And what we're gonna do quickly is just loading the game on the save data that I have and just see what's gonna happen. I'm waiting, console. What is the name of a victim in this case? And this time we're gonna say Giselle Brett.
Yes.
Who? Oh my god, she looks so so interesting. The name of a victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Giselle Brett. Ah, I found that very interesting. So they hide a bun, obviously, through the hat, and then she has the exact same clothes than Ryosuke Naruhodo. Right. Giselle Brett. A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure. Correct. And being a member of our empire's judiciary, you will be well aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Why, then, is her name indelibly associated with our own empire's judicial history? Obviously, you won't have forgotten that case from 9 months ago. But if it's proving hard to recall finer points, everything you need is included in the court record. Obviously, I still remember. There's nothing in the court record about it, but anyway, I do remember. That was the start of everything. Giselle Brett. Giselle Brett. Behind the woman student persona was the face of Queen Victoria, victim. Obviously the answer is Akira, but let's do Queen Victoria because it's funny. Queen Victoria, obviously. Obviously not. The Queen of England, studying overseas. I thought it sounded a little odd. Leave me out of this. I'm sure you know all the details of the case in questions from 9 months ago. Oh yes, how could I forget? I know every last detail about it. Then what on earth was that absurd answer you just gave? No more absurdity, please, Counsel. You will amend your answer. Yes, of course, Your Excellency. Did we both have to call my answer absurd? Behind the woman student persona was the face of the victim. Obviously, we know that she's a killer because she killed John Wilson, but a victim, obviously. The victim's role is already taken, Counsel, as you should know. That answer came with such misguided confidence I was almost taken in. I thought it sounded a little odd. Leave me out of this. check the court record and find the correct answer to the question of Miss Brett's true identity. You'll find it in the people section. That won't do, console. A menu answer before we have any more victims to contend with. And just to show you on the court record, it's written here, 9 months ago she was found guilty of the murder of visiting Professor Dr. John Wilson. Yes, of course, Your Excellency. Behind the woman student persona was the face of a killer.
Yes!
9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University was killed. And the culprit was Giselle Brett. Alright, that's where we're gonna stop for today. I hope that it was enlightening to see a little bit more of the second game, which is part of the same collection, which is named the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. If you were in Japan, they had 2 games on 3DS, and this was the second game, obviously, and the other one was the first one. And those were translated by courtrecord.net, isn't it? I think it is. I'm not sure. I need to double check that. So they do have a 3DS patch version of those 2 games. I think the second game, they didn't finish it. Last time that I remembered, I think they had at least 1 to 2 court cases that were translated, but I think that's about it. But now that there's a real English translate, well, now that there's a non-fan translated version from Capcom themselves, obviously it's better because everybody can access it now. Alright, that's where we're gonna stop, but before we do that, obviously a big thanks to courtrecord.net or the translators of the two previous versions on 3DS, because without them, I don't know if we would have got this game here. And without all the fans of Ace Attorney in everywhere else in the world and Japan, it's a big gift that Capcom decided to actually translate those 2 games. There's still one that is not translated for, which is the Miles Edgeworth 2, which hopefully one day may come up on Android and iOS. Who knows? But my hope is that we do a translation of this one too, because it's a great game. I played the fan translated version of it and it's absolutely fantastic. Probably one of the best games of the whole franchise, and it's too bad that it's not there. And the Great Ace Attorney Adventures was a really great game too, so my hope is that this one is even better and it's gonna resolve some of the answers that was left up in the air from the first one, because after all, we don't know for Van Zix, I think you say Baron Van Zix, we don't know really what happened to him really, because he seems to dislike Japanese people for some reason. So we need to understand why, and probably it's going to be said in this game. And there were also that ending of a previous game where Susato-san help us understand what was the result of that music box Morse code, which was written in Japanese and had some certain answer. Obviously all of this is kind of spoiler territory. I'm not going to go further than this. But I hope that it makes you understand that if you never played the first game, please do as well. Alright, thank you so much everybody. Thanks for joining me in that little session today. I hope that you liked it. If you do, please continue to follow me. Please subscribe to my channel or use that little bell on YouTube in order to get all my latest videos once I upload some. And see you all soon. Bye bye.